Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Let's Talk About It, Steph. I hope you had a wonderful holiday. I know we have been off for a couple of weeks and we're back, and I am going to bring up my co-host and then we're going to bring in our special guest. Hello, Dale. How are you doing?
Hey, how you doing? It's good to be back. It's been a very
Great.
busy past couple of weeks, particularly since we're in the open filing period right now. But yeah, looking forward to it.
All right. Well, we're going to bring our special guest on, Diane. Hi, Diane. How are you doing?
Every time I see you, I get better and better. You too, Dale.
Uh-oh.
In
Looks
for
like
office.
Stephanie might have. Oh, there you go.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we
We
can hear you.
can. We lost you for a
Okay.
second.
Okay. I know. I don't know. It's some weird stuff going on right here. We've been having internet issues, like it's okay, and then it's not. I'm like, I don't know.
It's a mega thing.
It probably is. They probably know I'm finna go live because all week long I hadn't had no problem, but today of all days, it decided
Right.
it want to crash. I'm like, oh no. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he never know. Meta probably done did it. Just kidding, y'all. Just kidding. I have no idea what's going on. Too many planes flying over us. But did y'all have a wonderful holiday?
It was quiet.
Yeah, it was a good game. I saw the Cowboys were they won, but it was close. So that's always entertaining when it's like that. So that was good.
Well, I enjoyed Texas beating A&M personally on Friday.
Okay.
But the ones
Yeah, that's good. I don't know where they ranking at. Oh Lord.
not good though. Not
Yeah.
good.
Well, you know what? I'm most glad to see that the Cowboys actually won. Of course, my teams all lost. We're not going to Super Bowl. We're not going to anybody's bowls or anything like that. We're just gonna chill this year. I think we're gonna get new coaches everywhere.
Yeah. So,
So,
but at least they'll get a nice
well, we
wage.
got, huh?
I said, yeah, but at least they make a lot of money.
Yeah, they do make a lot of money. It's about time they start paying the athletes too. It's about time those college students, I'm like, you making millions on top of millions. They need to be getting paid because, they fuss about them getting paid on the table.
Okay,
So pay them. So they are.
but I just want to say we talk about men's sports, professional sports are getting paid. Women's are not.
I know the WNBA need to get paid. So I don't know who's responsible out there, but they do need to pay those ladies because they play some good sports. All the ladies need to get paid. But that's going to take me into some of our topics too, of how women are being kicked all the way to the back of the bus
Yep.
in Texas. It's like it's not good to be a woman in the state of Texas. How do y'all feel about that? They're pushing out these laws and stuff that are saying that, hey, you need to be barefoot in the kitchen. And I don't like being in the kitchen.
I'm a fire hazard in the kitchen. You don't want me in the kitchen. I'm just saying.
I I hear you.
That's why I'm
I'll go
single.
in there just to cook me a little something, but I'm not gonna be barefooted up in that kitchen at all. I'm zero against that though. But we got a lot of interesting things that's going on. Y'all know it's open enrollment for insurance.
Yeah, through the 7th. And man, it's expensive.
It is very expensive, and that's one of our
When we
topics
got my
today.
$43 annual raise for Social Security disability. $43. Well, guess what? Medicare just ate that up, and now it's like, oh my god, I'm looking at all these plans going, okay, so I got a deductible here, and then the copays are going up, and I'm like going, how the hell am I going to support that? It's scary. I mean, I don't know if anybody else having that issue, but I mean, the price. Oh man, affordable
Yeah.
health care, that's not, it's not happening. And then for everybody losing the Affordable Care Act, I mean, oh my God. I mean, I've seen people that are paying now $3,500 a month for their premiums.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, I do remember, if I recall correctly, I can't remember if it was the Big Beautiful Bill or some other piece of legislation, but you know, we on the left have been saying, "Hey, guys, like the premiums are going to go up. They're going to go up," and the right would say, like, "Oh, that's just all liberal hysteria. You don't know that." Well, here we are. You know, we've been saying this for a while. You know, this is what happens under Republican leadership, because you know they care more for helping out their donors and the big corporations more than people. I mean, it's we're seeing this all over the country. When it comes to like housing insurance, for example, housing insurance companies are pulling out of California and they're pulling out of Florida because it's just
Florida.
becoming too expensive with all the storms and climate change that's happening. But those on the right are climate denialists, and between that and health insurance and everything, it's a scary time. It's insane to see how expensive insurance is, like even when you have a job, right? Like I'm terrified of losing my job because gosh, if I do, I I don't I don't know how I could possibly, you know, survive if something were to happen to me, you know?
Right. I mean,
Um,
I know people talk about how expensive Affordable Care Act was, and I'm sitting there thinking, okay, but if your company, the only reason why insurance was ever affordable was because it was a benefit provided by the corporations. And when you lose your job, then you go to Cobra, which is expensive because nobody's pulling their share.
Cobra's $1,000 a month. Who can afford that?
Right. But and that's where they got the prices from the Affordable Care Act because it's the same thing as Cobra, you know. And unless you make a lot less, then you don't have to pay as much. And that's where that benefit comes in. And a lot of people didn't understand how that worked. And I'm like, you'd be paying the same thing if you know. I said, get your company to pay the benefits the way they used to, 100% of it, or 95% of it, 75% of it. But for the for the deductibles and all that, when you're looking at the money that Republicans are taking out of PACs, they are Aetna, they are United Healthcare. They're working for these companies. They're making their donations out of our expense.
They are. They are. And before people get it confused, we are talking about healthcare. We're not talking about life insurance. We're talking about healthcare. So don't beat up the life insurance agents. It is the healthcare system that we're talking about because it's ridiculous. I do health not healthcare. I do life insurance and I'm telling you that it's hard for anybody that's doing that's a 1099 agent and you happen to go and get your own insurance. It's expensive and you can barely afford it. And those that are working, we were talking about that the other day, it's hard for them to afford it. The premium gonna have to wind up paying $9,000 just for her to add her son in, and the craziest thing is if you're on social security and you have a child that's on social security, depending on if the parent is making too much money, they're getting kicked out. So
Mhm.
before y'all find out, come January 1st, it's a lot of losses going to be pertaining to the healthcare. Y'all need to be calling your social security office and finding out what can you do, because obviously they're not calling people, they're not sending you emails, they're not sending you letters to your home to let you know that, hey, you're finna be subject to get cut off. So I'm telling y'all now, you better go down there to the social security office and make sure, especially if you are on Medicaid and Medicare, you need to go find out your status if they have not told you already, because come January, people are getting cut off.
And you may also want to look at an HMO for cheaper rates. I
Yeah,
know I hate HMOs with a passion. Might lose my doctor. Most of them I will, and which is horrible. I don't want to lose my doctor. I mean, it was hard enough to find a good doctor in the first place in Tarrant County, so I go to Dallas and pray about it. So,
yeah. You know, it's
yeah.
interesting in the news lately, or the past couple of days, actually, like several days in a row. Actually, a lot of reporters were asking Trump and MAGA Mike Pence about what that Republican health care plan is going to be. And every time, like when Donald Trump is asked this, he says the same thing over and over again. He's first of all very vague, but he always says, "Well, it's the insurance companies are the problem. We got to stop giving so much money to the insurance companies." And look, it's true, but the thing is, he's not telling us how he's going to go about resolving that problem. And it seems that all few proposed healthcare plans by the Republican leadership in the past has never resolved that issue. But it will be interesting to see what kind of healthcare the Republican Party is going to come out with. I doubt it's going to be something that's really going to be beneficial to us all, um, because like really, what it comes down to is the Affordable Care Act was popular. It was popular with the people, but they call it Obamacare, and anything that has Obama's name on it is something that they apparently just don't like. But
Yeah.
that was the program. Like I'm not saying it was perfect, but it was a step in the right direction. But they
Mhm.
feel that they need to pull away from it. This gives me deja vu and reminds me of the last cycle, or rather the first Trump trifecta. They couldn't decide whether or not they wanted to appeal and replace Obamacare, and they fumbled the ball. Um, so I mean, healthcare is just like a weak spot with the Republican Party. I mean, we on the Democratic side, we know what we want to do. We want to say, all right, we got to accept all pre-existing conditions, and we know that's expensive. But the way we pay for that is make the rich pay their fair share of taxes into our social programs like healthcare. Like that has always been the general Democratic strategy to go about things.
But they
But
don't feel like they shouldn't have to pay for
I'm gonna
anything.
tell you.
oh,
Okay. Yeah. Y'all disappeared on me. Y'all ghost me for a second.
You ghosted us, I promise. It was you. It's all about you.
I told you there's some weird stuff going on this side of town. But if you have pre-existing issues, you're subject to find out that you're not going to be covered. And let me tell you this: if you're a diabetic, your insurance don't have to cover you for your life insurance, so they can possibly kick you out. So you're going to have to go and find out who's going to cover you if you have pre-existing. I'm like, everything that's going on with with insurance is horrible on both sides, but it's really just even more horrible when it comes to our health care, because that is something that we all need. Yes, we all gonna die. Most of us gonna want to go do a GoFundMe or go get cremated or whatever the case may be. But when it comes to health, if you're trying to prevent an illness, you're not going to be covered, or you're going to wind up going into debt. I can't even imagine come 2027 how many people are going to have to file bankruptcy because of medical bills. And this is something that Trump and his little partners in crime decided they want to make sure that, hey, we're not getting any kickbacks. They're not going to help us at all. So they're taking away things from us that we actually need. And this is where we need Congress to get off their bus and be fighting back. All of them, not just the Democratic side. We need all of them, because at the end of the day, what affects Democrats? He's hurting the Republican Party. He's hurting the independents. Anybody, whatever, whoever you're with, it's going to affect you. If you're an American and you're right here in this country and you pay taxes in this country, you are going to be affected by whatever crazy decision that they're making, especially with our health care. And I would hate to see what's going to happen to our children, because here in Texas, of course, some other kids are not even going to be able to get that Lone Star health care either. They're getting kicked out thanks to Governor Abbott. He needs to be replaced as well. So Gina Hosa, I sure hope you be our next governor, because right now this one that we have, he got to go.
He's got
yeah,
to go.
one of the lines you said reminded me of a quote. Um, this is Senator Ernst said when asked about healthcare or something like that. I can't remember. I knew what the question was about healthcare, but she said, "quote Well, we're all going to die." End quote. That made a headline in the news. That
Yeah.
basically like it wasn't her best response, right? I guess she probably said it without thinking, but yeah. Anyways, but when it comes to healthcare, absolutely. So when we talk about how man this is going to affect our kids, that's for real. It's so for real that even Marjorie Taylor Greene agrees with you. Marjorie Taylor Greene, before the
I
whole
know.
Jeffrey Epstein fallout, she was starting to be
Yeah,
in favor of the supporting the health stuff because her kids were the ones who were getting affected by that. When she said, "Oh, and if the ACA stuff expires, like her kids like depend on that." Right. So when even a crazy person like Marjorie Taylor Greene is on board saying, hey, wait, we need to support our healthcare system." Yeah, and it's,
Until
it's
it
it's
hits,
crazy to see like this is how bad things are. And
yeah,
honestly, I feel like it is the Republican Party, but beyond the Republican Party, it's particularly this Trumpism. And that
yeah,
is something that is very obvious to me when you see Marjorie Taylor Greene, of all people, getting into a fight with Donald Trump. I mean, there's
and this
intense
really
fighting
becomes
involved.
where it's now mega Republican Democrat
Yeah,
because people are
yeah,
we can now start seeing uh, during the shutdown where people changed, and that's when uh, New York and Virginia and all them we changed blue, right? Because it finally started impacting people's personal lives. If it don't impact them, it hurts. I mean, it doesn't hurt. You start taking away that food, and if we would have waited till January, we would have won. We would have won November hands down because then you're doing it more than 6 weeks without
I
food.
still think that we still have a huge chance of winning in 2026 because they're not trying to make things better for the people. They're steady trying to, it's like, I hate to say it like this here, but they're constantly trying to put their foot on our neck. It's like they're trying to choke us out and make us suffer even more so, with you got the healthcare that's going on. You have the raid of ICE coming in now. Here, they're trying to pass that 287 to where you're giving police the authority to act like ICE. And some of the people you might, what about those people that are not ICE? And they're pretending like they're ICE and they're going to those stores to go get those uniforms to act like they're police officers and they're going in there raping women. And the craziest part is that if something happens to a woman here in the state of Texas, who cares? That's what the GOP is basically saying. Because if she gets pregnant and she does something, they're not going to go after her, but his family can sue for $6,000 or more. Is it $6,000 or is it 250,000? I think it's $250,000 is what they can sue, and they have up to 6 years to do it. But a woman only has 5 years to go and press charges against her person that assaulted her. Make that make sense. So
yeah,
we're in a slippery slope that's constantly going further and further and further down the rabbit hole. And is the only way that we can fix this, y'all, is that we got to get these people out of office, from the governor in Texas and clean house down there in Austin, and we got to clean house out there in DC, because this is ridiculous. But you do know a lot of the congressmen are jumping ship. They're retiring. They're not
yeah. And
They
also,
don't want to be. They don't want to. They don't want to be named. I mean, thinking about, oh my God. So I'm bending over for Trump. I mean, they're bending over for Trump. They're bending over for Abbott. They're not helping anybody but
yeah.
themselves.
And
yeah.
also to the audience, to go more specifically to what Stephanie was talking about, I believe you talk about. I have in my notes here, House Bill 7. Basically, it's civil suits over abortion pills. I have in my notes that it
Hmm.
lets private citizens file uh, lawsuits against companies or people who manufacture, mail, or otherwise provide abortion, including drugs, into Texas.
Yeah.
Successful plaintiffs can recover um, civil damages. Reports mention awards on the order of $100,000 per. Wait, I'm sorry. Yes, $100,000 per violation. So between that and then there was also, I know there was another bill that was being proposed, and I can't remember if it actually passed or not. But the concept here was that if you drive a woman to a place to get an abortion,
Yeah.
so essentially this means like the Uber drivers can get sued. Now, of course, I don't really know how in a court of law you can prove whether or not that Uber driver would know what they're doing or not, right? But it is crazy to see a world that we live in post Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade is gone, and they're
Yeah.
still harping on this. It's I just it's like, did they run out of ideas of things to run? It seems like they only run on two things: the border and anti-abortion. It seems to be the only two things they ever press
because
on.
they have to find something to split us on, and they know the religion aspect, especially of uh, women's rights and abortion, that splits people. Period.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, how are they going to win if they sit there and say, "Okay, we're not going to tax billionaires. We're going to privatize education. We're going to privatize healthcare. We're going to cut Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and there's going to be no minimum wage." How many votes are they going to get? Honestly,
Right.
very, very little. How are they? So how are they going? How do they get them? They talk about gun rights. They talk about abortion. They talk about LGBTQ, and they talk about immigration. So what you do,
Mm-hmm.
we have to focus on what they've done that they've screwed up on, and we have to
Yeah.
keep talking about that and talking about that and talking about it. We know where we stand with all those things, but we don't have to mention it. We just need to keep saying, "Help you take away our health care, you're taking away our food, you're taking away our public education, you're telling us how to raise our kids." We do know how to raise our kids,
Yeah.
you know.
I think that's I would tell any candidate that's running, especially if you run for House or Senate, that you definitely need to focus on the issue. Talk to people like they're people, because right now what's going on is folks are hurting. They're hurting in the grocery stores. People were not in the grocery stores like they had been in the past, just buying up a whole bunch of things. Families are doing more potlucks, and of course we're giving away a lot of food for people that didn't have it in their homes, and you'd be surprised who needed the food, that needed that help and stuff. And here we go with Christmas getting ready to be around the corner. We're gonna have to wind up doing the same thing as trying to give aid to people. And rich people, I'm not even gonna say rich people, because there are a lot of rich people that do their part. It's these big huge companies that are getting these huge kickbacks from either the states, or they're getting some type of tax. They're getting tax breaks from the
Tax
federal
avoidance,
government. It's those people. We got a lot of issues that are affecting us, and I'm not going to say all rich people are having issues. They're not paying their fair share, but a lot of them find loopholes to where they're not paying a whole lot like the rest of us. And I hate it that here we are. If you're middle class or poor, we're getting hit, we're getting taxed out of the wazoo. People are going to be getting taxed out of their homes. And that's a problem that we have. We got to lower these property taxes. Who are you going to have living in these homes? You're gonna have a whole state full of homeless people. Now, what you gonna do? You can't feed them. You can't shelter them. You can't secure them. So, what are you gonna do? You're gonna incarcerate all of us. All of us gonna be in some type of camp. Make it make sense.
well, they would like that because then that way they can make us work for free.
Hmm. And then let's go into with the farming. We have water issues throughout the state of Texas because they letting all these big tech companies coming through here, and they sucking up all the water, and they're not replacing it by building more. They need more lakes. I cannot stress that enough. That is something that I'll be continuing on preaching on the rest of this year and next year. We need water. We need water. We're gonna dry up. We need water. So if you letting one of those data centers come in like they do up in Midland, then you need to be building a huge darn lake, or make them pay for
And all the fracking too.
yeah, make them pay for it. Make them pay for those lakes and stuff, because we are tired. We the people are tired of getting our butts handed to us because of some kind of shenanigans that y'all agreed on to how to hurt us to help them fatten their pockets up. It is time for them to pay their fair share of these huge companies that's coming here in Texas. Y'all need to pay, and y'all need to be building better infrastructures in our state instead of taking away and destroying us. You want to dump horrible water into our good drinking water. Come on now. Make that make sense.
Yeah, yeah, and I think what you're referring to a lot is the fracking that we see in a lot of West Texas by
Hmm.
billionaires Tim Dunn and Ferris Wilkes. Fracking does a lot of pollution to our water system.
Well,
And I will
and
say
there
this when
are
it
projects
comes
that we
to,
do have here in Texas now that we didn't have before.
yeah. I mean, the real shame too when it comes to our infrastructure. For one, I do know that the following problem exists all over the country, and that problem is a lot of people don't like to invest into infrastructure because it doesn't feel necessarily like it's fixing a lot of things because people don't
Mhm.
necessarily see the effects. And so you'll see this in places like California and other places in the country where you have to basically wait until the infrastructure gets so bad to the point where action has to be taken. And then usually by then, but when people finally see it themselves that there's a problem with the infrastructure, so they finally invest in it. Usually by then, it's not necessarily too late, but it's obviously too slow of a response.
Yeah.
But the other shame in all this is Texas has a good problem to have. We have a surplus. We got a massive surplus. We
Yeah,
have like a 30, I think it's 30 billion with a B in
yeah,
surplus. So we have the funding to support our infrastructure. We got the money. We just need the people in Austin to agree to that, to spend the money. Right? Like we're spending so much money right now in property taxes and things like that. Our property taxes and our sales tax, and that money is being collected, but the legislature is just holding on to it, and they're not allowing the money to flow from our surplus into our public schools and our water infrastructure. It's really quite
Well,
crazy. It's it's
I mean, I
it's
was
almost
reading
downright
today.
insulting because
We
I
we
pay a
gave
lot of
every.
taxes, so where's my money going, right?
exactly.
I mean,
That's
in
what we all
Kerrville,
want to know.
we get a lot of people were given hell because they didn't use the funding that they received for the warning system. Well, when it split with over 50 different towns, the money was like 5% of the cost. That's all they were getting. Where were they going to come up with the other 95%? That's why a lot of these counties did not get to upgrade their system, and why the flooding in Kerrville. I mean, yeah, the money was great, but it wasn't enough. They didn't have the money to complete uh, the safety alert. And oh my God, Parker County is their wells are drying up, and we're about to build a UTA campus out there, and they're trying to get all the infrastructure and all that. Well, yeah, the state could help with that and hurry that up, but you know, how are you going to get spend that many $1 million for a small town in Parker County? What's
Yeah,
going to happen? You know,
yeah.
Yeah, and
I
y'all know the farmers are complaining too because they're not going to have the water that they need as well to feed the cattle and the fields out there. They're not going to have they're not going to have the water to take care of that. So those of y'all who like to eat a lot of beef and stuff, I know some people that are some huge steak eaters. You're going to have a problem because these cows are going to be anorexic in a minute because they're not going to have the water. You can't. I don't know what they're going to do.
well, you ain't going to have your veggies or your fruit either, or your
Yeah,
potatoes. So no
uh,
potatoes to go with your steak.
yeah, I was listening to his name is Tucker. I think it's Tucker Clayton, the guy running for agricultural commissioner.
Sergeant Tucker.
Clean
He
Tucker.
he has a farm, and he's a farmer, and he was asked about the water situation, and he said, honestly, like one of the first things that we should do, and is fix the leaky pipes. That's where we're losing a lot of water just from having old pipes that are leaking under the ground. So he was saying that it's not necessarily that we always run out of water per se. It's that we don't have water in the right places at the right time, and fixing leaky pipes will be a number one thing that he's focusing on. I will say this too, because this is something that I learned running for a state senate district 30. There is a proposed new lake called Lake Ringgold, and essentially they wanted to make this new lake, but after rescanning the surface of Texas, the Army Corps of Engineers found out. They said, "Oh, hey, if we allow the water to flow from, I think it's the Red River, out, it's going to flood some people out of their homes." So they would have to use eminent domain in order to get those people out of the way in order to make that lake, right? Because you can only create lakes in certain shapes depending upon the surface of the land. And so the Army Corps of Engineers basically has to scan the area and figure out, all right, like where can we like dam up the Red River or wherever, and then also where will that water flow to? Should we do that? And so this created a big to do in the Wichita Falls area, because Wichita
Mhm.
Falls, their economy is kind of stagnant, and they almost ran out of water. And they have Shepherd Air Force Base up there, which is very thirsty, and also two college universities. So they really wanted the Lake Ringgold, and they said yes to eminent domain. But then all those people, I think it was like in Clay County, they showed up to the candidate for them, and they were pissed. They're like, "Hey, like Even if you don't flood me out of my house, like I'm a farmer, you're going to take away a lot of my land. So it's definitely an interesting situation. There's also other opportunities as well when it comes to water. For example, some of us say, "Hey, we should have underground water reservoirs," and sometimes we say that is because here we can create lakes, but one of the problems with Texas is that it's notoriously flat. So the lakes that we have tend to be shallow, and with the hot Texas sun, we tend to lose a lot of that water on lakes due to evaporation. I'm not saying that lakes are a bad idea. They are a good idea. In fact, they're usually the cheaper way to go about of resolving a water issue, but they're not the most efficient. So, like the argument against underground water reservoirs and things like that, and silting water, is that it's more expensive to do that. But others on the other argument would say that it's more efficient. So, but there's definitely, like I said, we have a $30 billion surplus. We should be investing that into our water infrastructure. And as Tucker Clayton or Tucker, I'm blanking on his name, the agriculture commission guy was saying, one of the first things we should do is obviously fix the leaky pipes. We just need to invest our surplus into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what, and I have to agree with him about the leaky pipes because even over in the neighborhood that I live at, I just got through paying almost $300 for a water bill, and when I'm questioning our water come from Fort Worth, and I'm
Nope, I think we might have lost Stephanie
question
again.
find out we got a leak somewhere, but we don't know where the leak is coming from. So I'm like, if and I'm thinking, okay, maybe was it 2023 when we had that bad cold front that came through? Maybe a pipe got
Oh,
busted out there and we don't know it. But how many other homes
Yeah, yeah, I
over
think
for that little bit can help?
yeah,
yeah.
you're cutting in and out there a little bit, Stephanie, but I mostly heard you. I was in a similar situation where one of our pipes burst, and apparently, like we didn't even know it happened because it was a pipe that comes out of our water heater and goes under the concrete of our garage. And so, like underneath the concrete of our garage, we had this leak. Apparently, we didn't figure that out until the like the situation you're in. Like we saw an astronomically high water bill. We're saying, oh, what's going on over here? You know,
Yeah,
like we got like a plumber is coming out, and apparently they were able to figure out like, oh, there's the leak. But then it's like, what do you do? Do you break the concrete to get down to the pipe, or do you have someone? And this is crazy to think they actually do this. And this is the route that we wound up going because apparently it was cheaper than breaking the concrete. Is we had a small team of people literally dig a tunnel under our house. Like they came in from the side, dug down, and then went under the house to get to the leak. Um, didn't know that was possible, but yeah, it's frustrating that we have a pipe that goes underneath the concrete of our garage. But this is the thing that happened. But yeah,
Well, where I live,
yeah.
if my toilet is running, it automatically sits there, and I get a text message saying you're using too much water. You have a leak somewhere within 2 hours.
oh
Wow.
cool.
Yeah.
I need something like that because when we had a full house of kids, we're like, okay, we blame the children, and now it's just the two of us. I'm like, now I know I'm not using water like that, and I know my husband isn't, and the dog, he just don't use water that much at all. Anyways, I'm like, what is going on? Because I went out there and had them to turn the water sprinkler off. So I'm like, if that's happening to us over here, I know it's happening to some other people too. So that's one thing that we probably can do as consumers is, check and see if you have a leak. Maybe that will help slow down the water issues that we have. Every little bit, we all need to chip in somewhere.
Mhm.
Another pro tip, something I learned, is that if you go outside to you, it depends, I guess, probably on your house or your county, but at least for my area in the colony in Denton County, if I go outside, there's like a little box by my driveway in the ground. If I pull the lid out of this box, I can see where the main water line comes in. There's a little meter on there. And even if you're just like if you like turn your sink on and you come out and you look at the little meter, you can see the thing and just spinning slowly,
Mhm.
right? If you have your sprinkler system go off, the thing spins really, really quick. The thing is this: if you go, you make sure your sprinklers are off and all your sinks are off, and no
It's
one's like in the house. you should expect that meter to not be moving. If you do see it moving when you know that there is no faucet that's on in the house at that time, that proves to you that there's an active leak in that situation. And in fact, that's actually how we were. That's one of the first things the plumber did in order to prove that there was a leak going on. He said, "Hey, make sure everything's off. Make sure your dishwasher's off." And then he looked at it and he said, "Yeah, like you're losing water right now, even though everything's off. So you definitely have a leak." So that's one way to confirm that.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be trying some extra stuff around here. So we're going to move off of the water and we're going to swim into Diane running for House District 97. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Stephanie. I am so excited about because we got to make some changes because we got people struggling for it. Just oh my gosh, I talk to people all the time because I like to talk, and I like to just ask them what's keeping you up at night, and they're like, I can't make it anymore. They're like, I'm losing hope. It's like I'm working two jobs, three jobs, and I still don't have enough money. And I'm so tired. I just want to sleep. And my kids want to spend time with me. I want to spend time with them too, but I just can't because I got to make sure we have a roof over our head. I got to have food. They got their health care bills, and I'm like, and then property taxes are coming up, and I'm like, I know. I'm like, vote, 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 vote. Are you registered to vote? Let me register you to vote. Hey, if you need a ride, I'll take you. Here's my
Right.
number. And I give everybody my business card. And I don't know how many of those things I've given out. And it's like, you can't sleep at night, call me. I'll listen to you. You know, we'll try to come up with some solution, like you know, whatever we can do. Um, but you got to keep voting all the way up, all the way down, because we can't do nothing with Governor Abbott in there, even if we replace everybody in the House and the Senate. We can't get things on the Senate floor if we have the same lieutenant governor. You got to explain to people. I mean, everything makes a difference. Every single position. If you want equality uh, with the judges, you vote judicial. Every damn one of them. Civil
Yeah.
court, criminal court. Only 5% of attorneys are black. Only 5% are Hispanic. Less than that, Asian. They ain't representing you unless you vote for them. If you
Yeah.
want to understand who you are and what you're going through, you need a vote. Period. Just vote. Yeah, were you gonna say something, Stu?
I was just gonna say, hey, I totally agree with you. We have a slew of people that are running for county judge and running for district judge. We got some good people that's running, and I really hope that people come out and go vote for them because we got who is that Cindy Storm that's running for district judge,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a host of a lot of people that are running for judge.
In
Y'all
Polk
gotta
County, we have
vote. Come on.
14, 15 at least people running for judges. The last time we had
Yeah,
three,
yeah,
and they did really damn good. And now we coming back with a vengeance, and they are ready. They are. I mean, they came
yeah,
together. They looked to see who was the best fit for each judge, and they sat there. I mean, in 2 weeks, some of them got 750 signatures.
yeah,
I mean, they working together. I mean, they are a solid team. All of our candidates are solid. All the way
yeah,
through. I
yeah,
mean, we need like two justices of the peace, and everybody else. I mean, we got primary. I mean, we got multiple people in some of the races, like mine. But why are they going to vote for me? Because I rock, and because I know what it's like to struggle, right? And
right.
why am I going to shut up if I haven't fixed the issue? Because I don't. I'm tired of it. I don't want to struggle anymore. And anything that I've decided that hey, this is going to help people out, I'm going to talk to people on the Republican side, the independents, and say, "What do you think?" Oh man, they think I'm nuts. And
Do you do you think it's
but,
time for the barrier to be broken?
but together we sit there, and I'm like, "So what would make you vote for $20 minimum wage and add a dollar every year our economy grows?" They said, "Well, we can't kill our small businesses." I'm like, "Hell no, we ain't going to California or Texas." Da 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 da. And I'm like, "No. So what about if we give a tax credit which is tax free to offset uh, the highest expense that we have, which is salary to small business and franchise owners. And they're like, okay, that makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And also, as you were saying, Diane, saying like you got to vote, you got to vote, you got to vote. I wanted to pull up this graphic real quick here to show you that your vote
every
does make
election.
a difference. I mean, we're the margin of victory is about 600 thousand votes in the last election, and it's close. And when I say it's close, it's because Texas is not a red state; it's a non-voting state where half the population is registered to vote, and even of those, half of those even bother to show up to the voting booth. We are a non-voting state. You can see it in this graphic here, where it says, like almost the equal number of people, like I said, who didn't vote is almost the total people who did vote. So your vote does make a difference. Never tell yourself that, oh, it's a deep red state, my vote doesn't matter. No, on the contrary, the lower the voter turnout, the more of a difference your vote makes. So absolutely, as Dan was saying, vote, vote, vote. You gotta vote.
And if you're like, I don't know, I don't want to vote because I don't know who this person is. Well, you better research it, because if you got more than one person running, you might like somebody better than the other person, even though they're both really good people. One might want to choose one because they're a teacher, where the other one actually understands how the economy is impacting you and how to make that change. You know,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
that's because most, and I tell you one thing, why you should vote for me, because I got balls, and that's what we need. I don't think we need a Democrat on that ballot if they don't got balls. I
That's
want
right.
Jasmine Crockett. I want Nicole Collier. I want Alyssa Simmons on that ballot. I don't need no pussies up there. I
Yes.
need somebody standing up for the people and fighting like hell. No
Yeah.
matter
Exactly.
if you get yelled at or what, it doesn't matter. I'll go to jail if I have to skip my country. Yes, country, because yeah. But if I have to do it, I have to do it. But I'm doing it for the people.
You know what, Diane? I have to say this here. That's where we're at today. We have to fight. Those of us that are running for office, you can't be sitting up there being passive about it. You got to be straight up and saying, hey, I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight. If you disagree with something that they're saying that's going to hurt your people, you need to speak up and say something. Don't be sitting up there saying, well, I had to vote this way
There you go.
because no, you know what's right and wrong. Do you want to be on the right side of history or do you want to be on the wrong side of history? Because right now we got a whole country full of people that's on the wrong side of history, that's not doing the right thing by the people, and the people are tired. So me myself, I am going to be running for county commissioner, and my job is I'm going to be fighting for the people because number one, I need to make sure that I protect voter location because it is
Yeah.
ridiculous how people want to make changes but they can't make changes because they don't have the voting locations. On early voting you can vote anywhere you want to, but when it comes to election day, when most people go and go vote, they don't know where to go vote to, or they being turned around because the precinct done changed. So they playing this game and we got to stop it. Look what happened over in Tarrant County. They
Trust me, I
shut down
know.
over 100 voting locations just in Tarrant County. People were struggling trying to figure out, where do I go vote at? We got to stop this madness.
And most of the locations that they got rid of were in the center part of Fort Worth,
Yep.
anywhere inside the 820 corridor. And the deal is, that's where public transportation is. That's where the people need to get. But they're Democrat areas, and so we'll just cut them off. And I tell you one thing, they found their rides. They
Yeah.
found their, and I, being that my district, we have a special election for state and senate. Uh, uh, Taylor Rimmon, he's awesome. Okay, and now very red area, because it's pretty much on the outside of the loop. And so I'm talking Republican, Republican, Republican. Well, out of my precinct, 17 are in SPO9, and 13 of them flipped blue. 13 out of 17 flipped blue. One of them got 72% Democrat vote.
That's what I'm talking
And
about.
so people are pissed, and I'm so happy for it. But
Yeah.
I'm going to say voters, but I'm also going to say join your party, become a precinct chair, Go block walking. All these candidates say, "How can I help you?" And let me tell you, a dollar makes a difference because
Yep.
44,000 people voted in my precinct or in my district in 24. If I got $1 from each one of those per month, $44,000, that's $500,000. That will go a long ways in advertising and get my message out to you. So $1,
Exactly.
$1. Actually, I'm saying not.
Dan, tell us how can people reach you if they want to reach out and help you? How can they reach you?
I didn't even want people to try to spell my last name. So I just did Texas97.com.
There you go. Perfect. Perfect. Mr. Delfray, I know you are running for something.
Yes, something, and I will finally make that official tomorrow. I'm going to be filing to run for Denton County Clerk. I was hoping to run for county commissioner, but it seems like there's a very, very capable individual. Her name is Kansas Venezuela, and she's going to be running for Denton County Commissioner Precinct 2. She's a very capable individual. She ran for Congress before and was endorsed by Barack Obama. So I look forward to her being the next county commissioner for Precinct 2. I'm still going to help out with the Denton County Commissioner's Court. I'm going to be clerk. It's an important position. I'll tell you, the current county clerk back in the day, apparently she does not believe in gay marriage, and so she was resistant to supplying marriage certificates to those types of individuals, even though this is back when the Supreme Court ruled that same sex marriage should be allowed. She wanted to take it upon herself to say no, and that's not how things are supposed to work. The county clerk is supposed to follow the law. Now, she did eventually wind up following the law, albeit begrudgingly, but the county clerk should not be pushing their political philosophies. That is not the job of the court clerk. The job of the court clerk is to assist the county commissioners in any way that they can and keep track of records and supply records in accordance to the law. And I look forward to supplying assistance to the county commissioners court in Denton County in this way. So I look forward to filing tomorrow. And yeah, I look forward to it.
That's so awesome. I'm
Cool.
so excited for you. I'm
I
excited for you.
know.
And Stephanie, tell us about your dreams and what you're going to be doing.
I got many dreams, but my current dream right now is I will be running for county commissioner precinct 4 in Denton, and that's one of my main focus is going to be about voting locations. We need those voting polls, and we need a better system. Now, of course, what we were mentioning earlier about the surplus in Texas, we got small businesses right here in Denton County that are suffering and they need help. We have grants that could help them, but a lot of them don't even know that there are grants there. So those are one of the things that I want to make sure that I go and push for and make sure that the people are being taken care of the right way. And y'all know our roads are bad. I can't make this stuff up. There's a pothole on every corner, it seems like, and we got to get those things fixed. But the way that we have to get those things fixed is that we got to figure out better ways on how to better protect our roads because putting a little patch here is not going to work. You're going to have to really go in there and fix it and expand some of these roads. I have a lot of thoughts on different things, so that's what I'm going to be running on.
So, Stephanie, did you hear about that? They were canceling grants for women and colored people.
Yes, I
Yeah,
did.
I thought that's
Texas
cool. I
is
brought that
turning.
up. Yeah,
That's why I
so
mentioned
racist.
earlier. Texas is turning into anti-women. They are anti-women. So they don't want women of minority. They don't want us to get an education. You don't want us working. You don't want us. I don't know what you want us to do. Starve. I don't know. But you know what? Minority women are fighters.
You got
We're
it.
gonna fight no matter what. You can put roadblocks in our way. Guess what? We're gonna come out swinging. What stumbling block or what mountain that you put in front of us, we're gonna knock it down. So don't worry, we're gonna be all right.
That's what I'm talking about, girl.
Yeah,
Go,
we're gonna fight.
and you're gonna
I'm
get some ass and win this
all for
race.
it. Who gonna stop us, boo? Y'all, I sure appreciate you all coming on here tonight, even though we're having some glitches going on. Hopefully, next week we can have these glitches taken care of because I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's Amazon. We got Amazon not too far from here, and they got their big old planes flying over us. So who knows? But y'all have a wonderful weekend. And I know we got Diedrich has his kickoff coming up, I think Sunday at 3. And we got some things happening over in Haslett. So if y'all are over in the Haslett, Texas area, go to their park, their city hall. They're going to be having a tree lighting ceremony. I'll be out there
I'll be out
this
there.
Saturday. Yes.
Yeah.
Dan, you invited, but I know you're going to be over in the colony somewhere. But y'all have a wonderful, wonderful week. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay dry. I don't know what this weather is, but y'all keep it cool, keep it dry, keep it warm.
Yep, that's it.
Y'all have a blessed week, and I'll see y'all next week on Let's Talk About It Step. Good night.
Goodbye.